You know, we live in an age where we create an incredible amount of information, just in the blink of an eye, but it vanishes almost as quickly. Hard drives fail, tapes degrade over time. But what if? What if we could store our most important data not for 30 years, but for 10,000 years? Let's dive into how that's becoming a reality.
I mean, that sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel, right? The very idea of creating a time capsule of knowledge that's so permanent, so durable, that it could actually survive for millennia, it's like a message in a bottle for future civilizations, whoever they might be.
Well, the answer, it turns out, is both surprisingly simple and technologically mind-blowing. The secret isn't some exotic crystal from another planet, it's glass. Yep, you heard that right. Welcome to Project Silica, Microsoft's incredibly ambitious plan to safeguard humanity's entire digital legacy. But you might be asking, why go to such incredible lengths? Why do we need a 10,000-year hard drive? Well, the answer lies in a huge and rapidly growing problem that we're all a part of, the data crisis. Just let that sink in for a second. Every 2 years, we create more information than has ever existed in all of human history before it. That's everything from critical scientific research to your family photos. All of it has to be stored somewhere, and honestly, our current methods just can't keep up in a sustainable way. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just staggering. Traditional media, like hard drives and tapes, they last a few decades at best. They need constant energy, climate control, and costly data migrations to newer formats. Glass, on the other hand, is a write-once medium. Once the data's on there, it takes zero energy to maintain. It's a complete shift from thinking about temporary storage to something truly permanent. Okay, so how on earth do you write terabytes of data into a simple slab of glass? This is where the technology gets really fascinating. And you might think this requires some unobtainable, super expensive material, but it's not. We're talking about borosilicate glass. If you've ever used a Pyrex measuring cup or baking dish, you're already familiar with how durable and heat-resistant it is. Microsoft just took this common material and turned it into a next-generation storage medium.
And the storage density is it's insane. A single platter of this glass, it's only 2 millimeters thick, about the size of a drink coaster, can hold 4.8 terabytes of data. To put that in perspective, that's enough space for about 2 million books or 200 high-definition movies on something you can hold right in the palm of your hand.
So how is all that data actually encoded? Well, it's stored in something called a voxel, and the easiest way to think of it is as a three-dimensional pixel. So instead of writing on a flat 2D surface like a CD, this tech writes deep inside the glass, creating many, many layers of these microscopic data points. The process itself is this incredible dance of light and algorithms. First, an unbelievably fast laser, a femtosecond laser, fires these ultra-short pulses into the glass. We're talking pulses that last just 1/4 of a second. I mean, you can't even wrap your head around how fast that is. These pulses create the permanent voxels. Then, to read it all back, a computer-controlled microscope just takes pictures of the layers, and some very sophisticated machine learning algorithms decode the patterns back into perfect, error-free data. Now, this process does more than just create dense storage. It creates data that is almost indestructible. Let's take a look at just how tough this stuff really is. And this just says it all. You can boil it, you can bake it at up to 290 degrees Celsius, you can blast it with magnetic fields or even an EMP that would wipe out pretty much any traditional electronics, and the data, locked safely away inside the glass, stays completely intact. It's incredible. And look, this isn't just theory anymore. Project Silica is already being used for some really important projects. Warner Brothers successfully archived the original 1978 Superman movie on a single glass platter. And way up in a vault in Svalbard, Norway, the Global Music Vault is using this tech to preserve irreplaceable music for 1,000 years. And that 10,000-year number isn't just a hopeful guess. As Richard Black from Microsoft Research confirms, their intense stress tests and material science analyses all point to the same conclusion. The data should stay intact for at least 10,000 years. This is what's paving the way for the tech to move from the lab into the real world. So let's zoom out. What does all this mean for the future of how we store the world's knowledge? The end goal here is honestly breathtaking. Picture these massive automated libraries inside Microsoft's Azure data centers. Robots would just retrieve platters of glass whenever they're needed. But the storage itself, these huge racks holding humanity's archives, would consume zero electricity. This would just slash the cost and the environmental footprint of preserving data. Now, it's really important to be clear, this technology isn't going to replace the hard drive in your laptop anytime soon. It is strictly for archival, or what's called cold storage. Because it's a write-once format and the writing process is pretty slow, it's designed for data that you need to preserve for the long term, not stuff you need to access and change every day. And this technology really leaves us with this huge, fascinating question. It's no longer just a philosophical debate, it's becoming a practical one. Now that we have the ability to truly preserve our data from millennia, what do we as a civilization decide is important enough to pass on? What do we save? This explainer was based on some amazing in-depth reporting from Ferris Solution, which provides an absolutely incredible look into this technology. If you want to learn more, you should really go visit their website, Ferris Solution.